All right, 2 more minutes and we're going to start. King Goober, let me make sure I have you favorited. I do now. Who else is in here? Hey Jeremy, what's up? Okay. You got a surprise for me, Lexi? Fresh off vacation of hotness. Yes. Oh my God. My allergies are acting up. Oh my God. All right. Thank you for the hearts, everybody. Okay, we got, hey, silly circus queen. What's up? You're back on here? That's awesome, Jeremy. All right. 1 more minute and we're going to go ahead and get started with the show. Love you too, Big. Thank you guys. Okay. So what's going to happen, guys, is tonight is Connect with Steph. The topic is breaking the stigma, which is about breaking the misconceptions that people have on mental well-being and emotional well-being and trying to educate others about mental well-being and emotional well-being and how we can make that a priority in our lives. So our guest tonight, our first guest is going to be Silly Circus Queen. And she's been on my show before. I love her. She's amazing. Now, as far as reading the comments, I'm not able to read the comments, but I do have people in the chat that can read the comments for me and answer any questions that you may have. But while the show is on, I cannot read the comments or acknowledge the gifts. And I really do appreciate all of you guys. Okay, so we're going to start. Welcome to Connect with Steph. Topic tonight is breaking the stigma. Our first guest is Silly Circus Queen. I'm going to go ahead and get her in the box now.
All.
Hello, beautiful.
And of course, I'm wearing our Love and Light t-shirt.
I see that. That is awesome. Oh my God, I'm sorry. You look beautiful tonight. Thank you so much for wearing the shirt. And I love your hair.
I love you, Steph.
I love you. Okay, so Silly Circus Queen, why don't you tell everyone a little about yourself, things you do, hobbies, streaming, anything?
Okay, so I am Silly Circus Queen. I do stream myself. Of course, sometimes my stream might not be appropriate for everyone, but I tend to cosplay. We have lots of fun in our stream. I don't have quite of a steady streaming schedule like most people would. I stream with my co-host, our Lil Vamp Dat, and I'm not going to say that word right now, but we are the Circus Vamps crew, and we also support the amazing Love and Light family. But yeah, my stream is pretty much just a lot of laughs, lots of giggles, and cosplays, and you know,
It sounds like a lot of fun.
with us whenever we're on. Go ahead and hit that fave. Whenever we're on, we just do anything we can to brighten up your day and put a laugh and a smile on your face.
That is awesome. It sounds like a lot of fun. I've been into a couple of your streams. They get interesting. I'ma just put it right there. But they're fun. They're a lot of fun.
Lots of fun.
Okay, that's awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us before we start? Like hobbies, things you like? I see you
Oh
wearing
yeah, hobbies and things that I like. I do a lot of crafting, y'all. I do own a couple of my own side businesses. One is called Kingdom Driven Crafts, soon to be Silly's Mystic Candy or Silly's Mystic Cups. If y'all have any ideas, we're still working out on a name. It's just going to be Silly's Mystic in a last portion. We're thinking maybe Creations possibly. I do a lot of candy cups, beauty cups, and just anything that I can do to explore my creative side. I draw, I sing, I have anything artistic wise and creative. That is me. I absolutely love to do it all. If you have any ideas of things you want me to try to, I do that as well. I have yet to really explore with paints, but that is something that I'm kind of like starting to look into, as well as I have a couple of other ideas coming up. Can't share those yet, but there are more plans for me to do some crafts on stream as well.
That sounds really cool. It really does. You're very talented. Very talented. All right, sweetheart, you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Let's see. Let me ask. Okay. How can we create a safe and supportive space for individuals to share about their mental and emotional well-being experiences without judgment?
How can we create a safe and supportive space for individuals to share their mental health experiences without judgment? Well, first things first, if we're going to create a safe space without judgment, I would more so like to create and connect with people, not just on stream, but as well as one-on-one individually and or in group chats as well, just to show that, like, hey, I've got your back. Whatever you say and whatever you want to say to me or anybody else is not going to go any further than this, because I do know that a lot of what we do here on media and streaming and such and so forth, can get out of hand. That does also go to say, though, that I'm also somebody who doesn't like to lie. Don't put me in a position to do so. But other than that, being able to have that one-on-one with people, not just in the streaming space, can create a great support for people with mental health problems, and just being able to show that you can trust that your mental health is okay with this individual or said individual.
Right. And that is a good thing when people can go to someone and trust them to open up. That takes a lot, in a person to, listen, and a lot in a person to actually, come to, and say things.
I think it also has a lot to do with understanding too. If there's a mutual understanding, then it also creates it also is able to break down those barriers as well.
Right. Okay. How can we educate others about mental health to break down the stigma?
How can we educate others about mental health to break down the stigma? Well, exactly like what we're doing right now. We're creating a stream where we can connect with someone like yourself who understands what it's like to have mental health problems, and create an open environment and space to be able to talk about it in an open setting. I'm sorry, but this is actually kind of it's falling off. But when we're able to break down the stigma, it's pretty much letting people know that it's okay to talk about mental health. It's okay to come out and say, hey, I have this problem, and I want to see if there's anybody else like me as well, so that we can create a community.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So there is that stigma about, oh, I've got mental health, people are going to judge me, um, but that doesn't really happen so much if you are able to find people who also struggle with mental health as well.
Right.
You want to be in a community where people can understand, where people have that problem or have these difficulties. Like myself, I've got many different mental disabilities. I've got bipolar disorder, I've got anxiety, I've got um, PTSD, and a few others. But I wasn't able to really find a really good community of people that could help me really talk about it and express it and be able to break down that stigma.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a point. Like, if we're creating a safe environment for people like this show, who, to get people to connect with each other who have similar problems, and, who don't feel like, they're the only ones now.
Yes.
Okay? Welcome everyone who's coming in to connect with Steph. This is the beautiful Silly Circus Queen that we are talking to right now. Our topic today is breaking the stigma, and we are speaking with Silly Circus Queen. All right, sweetie. How can we encourage open conversations about mental and emotional well-being in schools, workplaces, and communities?
How can we encourage?
Open conversations about, encouraging people to open up in our schools, our workplaces, our community.
Well, let's start with schools first. When it comes to schools, the biggest role model, I want to say, or person of, you know, or spokesperson would be the counselor.
Mm-hmm.
The counselor would need to come out and show, hey, um, we have a community of these types of individuals. These problems do exist. The counselor is the first person that everybody goes to when they're should be the person that everybody goes to when they're having a legit problem when it comes to their emotional well-being. So I think that the first person that really needs to step up and speak out about, mental health and the stigma in schools would be the counselor. Hey, let's get everybody in assembly. Let's do an assembly about, let's say bullying.
Mm-hmm.
And how bullying can affect depression, mental health, anxiety, or even, inviting classes to talk about mental health, and so that people can really, before they get into adulthood, start it off in the young, because we want to get a hold of this as we're young. Elementary school, middle school. Middle school is really where it starts. I myself, I saw a lot of counselors, and I saw a lot, and I still do. Now as a counselor, as an adult, we call them therapists.
Right. Right.
But until counselors and schools are able to open up more about these difficulties that teenagers and students and kids are going through in schools, we're going to keep having this, this huge problem with kids having depression and growing up with all of these other difficulties.
Right.
In the workplace, I know in my workplace, they offer resources. Now, they don't publicize them a lot, but the employer offers resources for employees to get, mental health help from, let's say, like my work. they offer for Deer Creek. It's called Deer Creek Online. I know that there's other places outside of work, like BetterHelp and such and so forth, that you can actually talk to somebody virtually and go over things that are bothering you. It really just helps to talk to somebody and to have that resource available for you.
And your workplace provides that?
My workplace provides that. Now, I already had counseling and therapy and a psychiatrist before I even started working. So for me personally, I don't utilize it, but I know that there are some people who do.
Okay. Well, that's amazing. Amazing. Not many workplaces do that. So that is amazing that you have a place that you can utilize if you need to. Okay. In your opinion, what role do media and entertainment play in perpetuating or challenging the stigma, the mental well-being stigma?
Media or entertainment? So are we talking more like Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that?
Yeah, any entertainment, like, movies, shows, news, anything.
Entertainment, I think when it comes to like movies and shows, they show mental health in a very negative light. They show mental health as people who are crazy and there's something wrong with them, like they can't be helped.
Right.
And I really don't like the way that, and you're talking about that way in media, how movies perpetuate people that are just, well, let me give an example. There's I think there's I forgot what it's called, but it's a series of 3 movies, and it's an individual who has pretty much multiple personality disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And they show that he's got a therapist who's been working with him for a while. And sometimes not even the therapist is in the movie is able to really notice that, it's getting worse. Whereas in real life, if there is a therapist and you're working with somebody and you're wholeheartedly working with somebody, they're able to notice that something is wrong to the point of they might have to actually like instill what's called a safety plan. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of underlying things in mental health in the real world that movies, books, and TV shows and this and that do not actually perpetuate in the real life.
Right. You're right. And it's always over-exaggerated.
Very over-exaggerated.
Makes it look like, everyone with mental health problems is just, like you said, they're just crazy. And they can't get help, which is very frustrating because that's not true.
It's not true.
What do you think about social media?
Oh my gosh. Social media is absolutely, it can be the greatest thing and it can be the worst thing. Social media, like I said, if you can find those groups of people who are very similar to you, who have the same mindset, or who have the same problems and issues, and y'all can get together and somehow become each other's support, then great. But as well as social media can actually be a very bad thing. If anybody's ever seen the movie Cyberbullying with Emily Osment, that is a very great example of how social media can harm one's mental health, especially when people start posting things about you that aren't true, or people don't have the full story of something that was posted and they go to their own assumptions. People start writing nasty things to you in text messages on like Facebook, Instagram, because you have that DM option. But then we also have that option of just plastering it. on people's walls, on their pages, or even their own walls or their own pages, and just adding everyone, and that way everybody sees it.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, everyone. Thank you for coming in. This is Connect with Steph. We are speaking to Silly Circus Queen, the beautiful queen. And our topic today is breaking the stigma. Welcome, everyone. Okay, for our last question, what resources are available for individuals facing emotional and mental issues, and how can we make them more accessible?
What resources?
hmm How can we make the resources more accessible to people who are needing help?
Well, funny thing is that resources are actually a lot more accessible than we think. Now, I always tell people, you want to know something? Google it. For me, everything is Googled. I actually myself go and see a lot of community resources that we have out in our community. And whenever I go to any one of these community resources, they always have brochures. And
Mhm.
I'm always grabbing just about every brochure that I can, or any paper that I can that's set out on those desks.
Okay.
Um, and then for me personally, I actually have a whole resources composition journal. I tape everything into that resource journal. You need mental health resources, I've got that. If you need counseling resources, case management, such and so forth, I've got that. But I also look up a lot of the stuff on Google. Like if I need a certain resource, like give me an example of a resource that you would think that you would need.
For a resource for what?
A mental health.
Oh, I do the same thing. I Google, and when I do go into like my counselors or, doctor's offices, they do have brochures. You're right, where can you could pick those up, and they will tell you different places to go, numbers to call, what those people do.
Yes.
Excuse me. So I
But
do.
we can print those out, or even like, I know that there's probably a lot of parents here as well within the streams. For parents, if you need those resources, I know in a lot of places that we go to, doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, they almost always have a table chocked full of different like brochures and papers that we may not think that at the time we need to utilize them, but grab them. We can use them. Just about any business, tax offices, even those like little stores in Walmart or HEB or your local grocery store. There's like always little stores, and they always have other businesses brochures and stuff. And sometimes I find some mental health stuff. Look there as well. In the smallest places, you can find brochures for mental health, and it's quite amazing, actually.
That is really awesome. And I do know I've seen them too. And I grab them, and sometimes I have so many that I don't read them all. But those really are good resources to find things that you need, people that you would need, numbers, and all of that is included. Okay, well, thank you so much, Silly Circus Queen. If there's anything you want to say real quick about your streams or any shows you're on.
I'm not on any shows right now, but I'm hoping to get into one of GTR's shows. I signed up for them a long time ago, and I was supposed to sing for them, but something happened. I ended up losing my voice. So pray for me, y'all, that I can get back into one of GTR's singing shows. But as of right now, I stream primarily late at night, anywhere between 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. If y'all want to come visit me, chat with me while I'm at work, because I do get easily bored. If y'all want to join our Circus Vamps group chat, let me know. We do have some requirements and some recommendations if you want to join that group chat so that you can know anytime we are live. But if you see me, go ahead and hit that fave step as well if you're just coming in. But yeah, that's
Okay.
all I have. And thank y'all for having me so much. I love all of y'all. And
Mhm.
it's a struggle, but y'all, you know, we got this. And if anybody needs to talk, I'm available. Just go ahead and hit me up.
All right. Well, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for your insight, and I will talk to you later, darling. Okay. Hey, everyone. Welcome to those people just coming in. This show is called Connect with Steph. It is a show about connecting people who may have similar problems, issues, thoughts, feelings, and think that they're the only one who are feeling this way. And you're not alone. And that's what this show is about, connecting people and showing them there is an entire community of people out there who do have similar problems, have similar issues. They feel the same type of way. And there's nothing wrong with talking about it. There is absolutely nothing wrong with bringing it out in the open. And that's what today's topic is, breaking the stigma. This show is on every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. And we do different topics with different guests. So I hope you guys favorite me and so you can come and see the show. Thank you all for being here. Okay, our next guest is Too Legit.
Well, thank you so much for having me on your show. So
Welcome to Legit. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
You're
So
okay?
yes.
Um, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself?
So right now I'm not doing too much on my stream, but I do stream usually on Sundays or Mondays. Right now I'm doing a little renovation here, so I'll be streaming for that.
Okay.
Hopefully in the future I'll be doing a game show again, but right now it's in hiatus for now.
So it's just chill for now.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So are you, besides obviously my show, do you have any shows coming up that you're going to be doing?
At this moment, other than my auction in August, I'm trying to think. There's one. No, there's one tomorrow. I can't
Tomorrow?
remember exact show, but I got one
Okay.
tomorrow night. So,
Okay. All right, awesome. So, okay. How can we educate others about mental and emotional well-being to break down the stigma?
well, for that, I believe in education. So we should educate our kids on the mental that we should be talking to each other about that. So, me personally, I live with epilepsy, so I do have a mental issue.
Me
But
too.
it used to be that you don't talk about it, and now it's like, yes, you should talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, even for me, I find it difficult to talk to different people when it comes to my mental issue. But the one person I will always confide in is my doctor,
Right.
100%. So I will say everything under the sun to my doctor. If I have a problem with my mental problems, like I did just recently in March, and unfortunately, there's consequences to that. But for now, we got I gotta live with what I got. You know.
Right. Well, I understand. I have epilepsy too, so I totally understand that,
Yeah.
that part of it. I really do.
Yeah.
And what do you think are some common misconceptions about mental well-being, and how can we address them?
Well, it's been the same stigmas that has happened since even when I was a kid. That it's not okay. It's not this. Nobody don't talk about it,
Right.
and it's still this be fearful of it, and nobody realizes that your mental health and your physical health
Hmm.
are like a yin and a yang, and they work together.
Right.
So you have to keep the balance, you know?
Hmm. So, what do you think are like some misconceptions about people who have, you know, mental, issues or emotional issues? What do you think are some misconceptions about it?
That we're either dumb or naive or just we should belong in a mental institution a lot of times. And
Hmm.
that's not true. It's we live productive lives just like everyone else.
Hmm.
And if
So
it's
basically, everyone, people seem to think that if you have, these problems, then you're less of a person.
that's right.
Yeah,
So it's completely not true.
it isn't true. And that's what we're talking about today, guys, on Connect with Steph. We're speaking about breaking the stigma. And we're talking to legit right now. This wonderful person who has been on my show a couple of times now.
Yeah.
And we are finding out some of his views and his experiences and his journey through his mental and emotional well being. Okay, what role do you think that social media and entertainment play in perpetuating or challenging mental health stigma?
Oh, it
Does
plays
it
an
make it worse?
extremely big role.
Hmm.
It can be for the good and it can be for the worst. So it can inform you or it could put the stigma in there. So depends on which group it is. So,
Okay, how do you think social media affects people's mental well being?
well, it affects them real greatly. It affects me real bad too, because I care about people. Because I care about people, it affects my mental abilities to be able to survive and live and think about everything. So it
Hmm.
does really it stresses me out for
It
social
does.
media. So I will
Yeah,
tend to sometimes do a break from
right.
certain social medias. You know.
And that's a good thing. That is a
Yes.
very good idea. Taking a break, when it gets overwhelming for you, that is a really
Yeah.
good idea. And that helped you personally when you take a break from all the social media and,
Yeah.
people just talking stuff they shouldn't be talking, and it tends to overwhelm you.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need to step back and take a breather.
Definitely.
So that's a really good idea. Okay. How can you support and uplift those who are struggling with their mental health by not adding to the stigma, not telling them something's wrong and making them feel like, something's wrong with them, that, you know, nobody else feels that way?
It's basically it's just, I've been feeling that way sometimes from time to time too. So uh, just bringing my spirits up, and the only thing that it really takes is laughter, as they say, is the best medicine that you could give. So just making someone laugh will actually help them with their
That's
mental
true.
abilities.
That is
So
very true. That is true. What steps do you think we could take as a society to ensure that mental well being is given the same importance as physical health? Because that's what you see mostly is physical health. You don't really see people talking about the mental well being as well as the physical health.
it's even here in Canada, it has a long way to go. But
Mhm.
it's the talk. It's the talking. You have to talk to somebody you do trust. You
Mhm.
know, have be educated by your teachers. Work with let the teachers work with the counselors. So the teachers are educating the students, and the counselor is guiding them. So have them both, and then slowly break the stigma, slowly break the uneducation that there is about mental education, mental illness.
Mhm.
So
Education is the key. You're right.
education has always been the key, and opening up the resources. So then up here, it's the resources that the government own mostly, between three of them, which is the doctor, the social worker, and the church.
That's
So
true.
between the three of them, we don't have flyers, but they guide us to where we need to go for our
Mhm.
mental for our mental health.
I never, you know what, to be honest, I never even thought about churches. It's good that you bring that up because they do help their community and get them the resources that they need.
Yeah,
That's very true.
yeah. Up here in Canada, we don't really Google it. We do more talking
Mhm.
with the social worker or the church or the doctor, and they have all our resources.
Well, that's really cool. Like we don't have those kind of, the amazing resources sometimes that people think we have. So it's you have to search it out for the most part
Yeah,
because of the stigma that we have on it and what social media puts on it and what, Hollywood acts like, everyone is crazy. Like you have a mental problem,
yeah,
everyone is crazy. And that's
definitely. That is
definitely not
also
the
uncurable, and that's
Mhm.
the other thing that I've heard from media.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not true.
No,
Okay, what is the connection between physical activity and mental well-being?
they work in combination. If you're physically not fit, you're mentally not fit. It everything comes to a balance.
Hmm. You're
So
right. So, what are some ways that you personally can connect your physical activity with your thought process?
just by going for a walk on a daily basis, sometimes just doing different activities here, you know,
Hmm.
like me just painting my room, you know,
And
that
that's
just
true.
painting your room is a calming effect mentally. So, just
That's
take a
true.
brush, paint your room if you need to, you know.
Good idea. Good idea. All right, everyone coming in, welcome to Connect with Steph. We are speaking with Too Legit right now, and today's topic is breaking the stigma. Well, Too Legit, is there anything else you would like to add or reiterate or let people know about?
Not really, other than I am going to be renovating this weekend, so I'll be having a nice mental uh,
Mental break.
awareness type thing, and that's about it, really. Got a
Okay.
lot of work to do here, so.
I'm loving the purple in the background because I'm
Well,
obsessed with purple. Loving the purple in the background.
actually, that's not even purple, so
It's
uh,
not?
that's purple lights only, and
Okay.
that brings it as purple. So it's actually beige.
Oh my goodness. All right, sweetheart. Well, thank you for coming in
Yep,
and thank you for talking with us. And I
yep,
will see you in a little bit.
yep.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Take care.
All right. Um, Once again, we are on our third guest now, our third and final guest. Last but not least, definitely for Connect with Steph. And the topic today is breaking the stigma. We have way too many things going on in this world, and people need a safe place to talk. And I'm hoping this is going to connect people with similar issues and get to know each other. All right, everyone. The last guest for tonight is King Goober. If you'll load in. Oh,
Hi.
good. Hey, King Goober, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are y'all doing? How are you doing? Sorry, I can't speak right now.
That's all good. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, sweetheart?
Yeah, of course. Hi, I'm King Goober. I live up to my name. I'm just a complete goofball. My streams are just all about fun and positivity. I kind of run my stream kind of like Switzerland. No negativity, all neutral. So all positivity, all love, all that stuff. Yeah, so I'm gonna stop now because I talk a lot. So if I don't stop, I'm gonna keep rambling. So.
Totally okay. Totally okay. Do you stream at certain times?
I do. Because I do have shows. I have Goof Talk every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So you can definitely find me live there. Lately I have been kind of taking kind of a break. Um, but typically, yeah. And I do stream Wednesdays and Fridays for sure to do books and brunch. At 1 p.m. Eastern. Which is just something that I where I just attempt to cook, and then after I'll read some books. Wednesdays is one book, Fridays is another book. So and then
Wow.
I have other shows, but so there it is on my, I do have it posted on my bio. So
Okay.
I have like a schedule that yeah. So if you are interested in wanting to know what days, that's one thing too. Because yeah, otherwise I will. Yeah. I'm like 7-Eleven. My mouth never closes.
That's okay. That's kind of how I am, so it's all good. It's all good. All right, sweetheart. How can we challenge and overcome the stigma surrounding mental and emotional well-being in our communities?
I'm sorry. Would you mind repeating that one more
Yeah,
time?
it's a long one. Long question. How can we challenge and overcome the stigma surrounding mental well-being in our communities where we live? How can we challenge that and overcome it, in your opinion?
In our communities, I mean, well, as far as overcoming it, I mean, just not giving up, just continue on doing what we're doing because we've gone so far. I mean, selfishly, not far enough, in my opinion. But I think as far as challenging, I mean, not being afraid to like talk about it, to speak up about it. Not being afraid to reach out to someone, even if they say they're fine, to do that in your, even if you need to just, in the neighborhood, just talk to people, I guess. I mean, everyone is so closed-minded nowadays and just stuck on their phones. So I mean, I don't want to be that person and goes, oh, get off your phones and go out to the world. Like, no, I mean, but I don't know, maybe go for a walk when you need to charge your phone, I guess. I don't but yeah, I think just more communication, and then not letting, because unfortunately this is a long game to get like to get on the path that we want to get, especially with how people look at the stigma, look at mental illness as a whole. So I mean, not to get discouraged, not to get discouraged, playing the long game, which unfortunately that's what this is.
Right.
Because I mean, it's just my opinion. I just feel like mental health is still kind of underrated compared to some illnesses. Mental illness is a little underrated, which I feel
Much.
like needs to be a little bit more aware, I guess, for lack of a better way of saying it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, what are some common misconceptions about people struggling with their mental well-being, and how do we address them?
I was hoping for this question. Okay, so miss. Okay, one misconception off the top of my head, because this is what I thought of when I yeah, is that every people with mental illness, it's all the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
No, I don't care if two people have manic depression, bipolar. Sorry, I like the old title versus bipolar. I don't know why. I think I like the word manic. I don't know. I have issues. Anyways, but two people with bipolar, like, oh yeah, they have to be there. It's the same thing. Like, no, everyone goes through it differently. It's genetics. It's all different. So that's I feel like, in my opinion, that is the biggest misconception that people struggle with, is that when you go talk to someone, and you're talking about mental health, people who haven't been diagnosed with it act like they understand where you're coming from, and like, oh yeah, cause yeah, it's the same. It's like, no, it's not the same. You have it, like, I could be, oh sure, and I could fly to the moon on a pig, like, what? Like, yeah, people have said that to me. I'm just like, no,
Right.
so honestly, I'm not gonna lie, that's the biggest thing for me, so much so that I can't think of any other misconceptions, which I know there are, but that's the only misconception I can think of right now, because that's what
That's
I've
very
struggled with the
true.
most.
It's really true that I have seen that when, you have the same, illness as someone else, they think, oh, okay, well, they can't do this or they can only do this. And it's not true. Like you said, people have different makeups, people have different genetics, people have different feelings. And just because it's labeled that way doesn't mean it affects the other person the same as it would someone else. So, very good point there. What resources are available for people facing mental well-being challenges?
I'm sorry, can you reiterate
What
one more time, please?
Yeah. What resources are available for people facing their mental well-being and emotional well-being challenges?
Oh man, that's seemingly a tricky question. Actually, anything, if you think about it. I mean, I think it just depends on the person. For me, it could be my best friend that I needed to just talk to and vent. It could be my girlfriend.
Mhm.
Um, Emotionally, it could be, if I'm in a rut, it could be comedy. It could be music. Um, it could be meditating, chanting. I'm a Buddhist, so I have my thing behind me. I'm not gonna open it because we don't do that, but that's all you get. That's all you guys get. No, so I think it really just depends for me, and it also depends on the mood, on the situation, what kind of a emotion I'm going through. If I need some type of charge where I am mentally, because when I'm having a moment, when I'm going through something, it is different each. Not well, not every time, but there are times where it's different. Music may not work for me for some strange reason, but comedy will. Or maybe nothing on my own will work, but talking to my girlfriend or my best friend will work as well. So I think it's situational. I think it depends on the person. But and I don't like speaking for anybody but myself. I mean, sometimes sometimes you got to, but I prefer not to. But yeah, that for me, it's yeah, it's a plethora of things: music,
Right.
comedy, all that stuff. Yeah.
You're right. And for each person, it is different. It is absolutely different for each person. But, what gets you through it could possibly get someone else through it. So, um, it may be different for everyone, but, when you're explaining what gets you personally through it, that may give other people ideas of, oh, okay, let me try that. Let me just see, if that'll work for me. So that makes
Exactly.
sense.
Yeah. That's what the benefit of is like when I mentioned talking to someone, venting, because my girlfriend or my best friend could tell me something, because I could tell them, oh, what I tried isn't working, and they could recommend, like, it could be vice versa, they could recommend something to me instead of the other way around, like, oh, hello, I didn't think about that, all right, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. Or I'll tell you if it worked. So I agree.
Okay. Once again, guys, this is Connect with Steph. We are speaking with King Goober, and we are talking on the topic of breaking the stigma. There is a lot of stigma around mental well-being and emotional well-being in the world, and we are speaking on that right now. Okay. For the last question, how can we possibly challenge and or overcome the stigma that does surround mental health and emotional health? How do we challenge that? How do we overcome that? Because there is a lot of it in this society. They look down on people with mental issues. So how do you think we can overcome that?
Well, off bat, not giving up, right? Because there are times where we're discouraged. People will, and it's not what people say, but it's the consistency of it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's it's like when kids go to their parents, or in my case, when my niece and nephew come to me and they ask for one thing the first or second time, you're like no, but after like the 10th to 20th to 50th time, you're like, sure, fine. And in your mind, it's like, if it'll get you to shut up, or leave me alone, don't get me wrong, I love my niece and nephew, but parents understand what I
Yeah,
mean by that.
understand completely.
So and it's the same way with mental health, where people looking down and talking and just running their mouth and saying things, negative things about it, and it can weigh on you, and then all it takes is just a little cherry on top for things to just blow over, um so I think not giving up is the first thing, without hesitation. I think talking about it more. I think like not being afraid to admit that you have it.
Right.
People talk about it, and like it'll discourage people to even like say I have it, because they're afraid of being judged.
Right.
In reality, they're most of the people that frown upon it are actually going through it, but won't say anything. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like, um, and if you think about it, that's how society is. Not just with mental health, with anything. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm only bringing this just for point's sake, and it's the first thing I can think of as an example. But like, with the community, right? People were so against the community, like, with people like in the same sex or anything like that. People were so against it in the beginning, and it's expanded and broadened. People have been, open to it because it's been people have not been, people are coming are I'm not afraid to be who I am.
Right.
So like that's inspiration in itself, and a great example of like, all right, well, let us from the mental health community do that same thing. Let's follow in the community's footsteps. For the record, LGBTQ plus community. I say community because I don't remember the full title. I partake in certain things, if you know what I mean. The color should help. But I did that wasn't for that. That was because it's mental health. I actually have a bracelet for it.
Okay.
But yeah. So I forget a lot of things. But I think we should follow in that footsteps, in the sense of like not being afraid to be who we are, embrace who we are. I talked about my show earlier, Goob Talk. That's my show. Embrace our inner selves, embrace our inner goober, because I feel like there are a lot of people in our situation that are just in denial or just refuse to talk about it. It's like, embrace who you are. You'll feel better about yourself, and it'll overcome the stigma, and overcome people looking down. If people come forward and just are, it's okay to be afraid, but to have the courage to talk about it, and to say and acknowledge that you go through it, you struggle with it, you'll be surprised to the reception that you and the reciprocation that you get, because people will be like, oh my God, I go through something similar. What? Shut your mouth, you do? And then, oh, look at that. It's you guys become best friends, and it's like a scene from Step Brothers, you know? So, so yeah, that's the few things. I can continue more and more, but I don't want to. I feel like I've already talked enough as it is.
I agree completely. You know, people need to not be afraid to speak up. And unfortunately, because of how society looks, you know, on mental well-being and emotional well-being, they think I have to hide it. I have to hide it. And that's when I'm so happy you were on my show to, you know, I agree with everything you just said. It's true. You have to be yourself. And that's the main thing. Don't be afraid to be yourself, no matter what anyone thinks.
Exactly.
And that's a wonderful spot to end on. Do you have anything you want to reiterate or say about your show?
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, I do have a few shows. I just wrapped up season 1 of Sync Star SmackDown, which is every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern. I will be doing season 2 soon. I got to work on some things. I also have a game show called Game Fest on Thursdays at 7. However, I am taking hiatus on that. It's honestly, it's just hard to have. It's hard to book 3 shows. I'm just gonna be honest. And then my baby is Goop Talk. I do have Books and Brunch Wednesdays and Fridays, but as far as shows go, Goop Talk is my baby. Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. Like I said earlier, it is a show about talking about our inner selves, embracing our inner goober. Pun very much intended. But like what makes us different? You know what I mean? Because society likes to judge and stuff like that, and you know, oh, you're like this, okay, I'm just gonna assume you're this way. It's like, no, we get to know us better. So we have dance breaks, we have little game segments, you know, just ways to bring out the inner goober and so the audience can see who you are and stuff like that. Yeah, aside from that, oh yeah, oh, I would love for you to be on it. Honestly, selfishly, you know, I would love for you to be on it, because, or I'd love for you to check it out at the very least, you know, because I think you'd like it. I think anybody would like it. Honestly, you know, it's fun. I try to make it friendly and stuff like that. But honestly, I had a great time here. I love the show. I've been on it once before already. Anytime you need me, I'm a big advocate for mental health. I plan on getting the mental health awareness ribbon somewhere on my hand, because I'm that, like, when people shake my hand, I want them to see it off like yep, yep, like what I said, embrace it, right? How can we overcome? Maybe I didn't want to say this and suggest this because this is just a personal decision, but I'm getting a tattoo and showing people as soon as they meet me that I have it. I'm not afraid to embrace it. Whew. But yeah, so I'm a big advocate. I'm a big talker of, I love talking about mental health. It needs to be talked more. So anytime you need me, you know, just let me know what the topic is, because some topics are harder than others.
Yeah,
but yeah, so I'm gonna
darling, thank you so much for being on the show. And everybody, make sure y'all favorite all my guests today. Thank you, darling.
So
And
much.
I will see you again.
Thank you. I had a blast. All right, y'all. Bye. I'll stop talking for
Bye,
once.
y'all. Well, that will conclude Connect with Steph. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Thank you for coming and participating and talking. Thank you to my 3 guests, King Goober, Too Legit, and Silly Circus Queen. And I hope you all had some fun and had some good insight. And I wish you all a blessed night. Love and light.